right, Black Girl White Co. We back at it again. Hey y'all, hey family.
Hey doctor.
Hey doctor. Y'all, we are just months out from graduation. Oh wait, Biosha, I haven't even introduced you.
Okay, my bad.
Sorry y'all. As y'all see, well, first of all, let me back it up. Thank you guys for tuning into my channel. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. I have another guest with me. We're gonna continue this FirstGen series. So please introduce yourself for the people.
Okay, hi guys. My name is Biosha. I'm a fourth year medical student here with Sandra at University of Texas McGovern Medical School.
And I don't think that's the name of our school.
Well, McGovern Medical School, University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston McGovern Medical School.
University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston McGovern Medical School.
Yeah, John P. and Catherine G.
Right, that's too much. Biosha has been in a previous vlog, in a couple previous vlogs.
I know, girl.
Mexico.
Yes.
Mexico, we did end of third year together at that brewery we went to.
Oh, so yeah, when we were, the car box.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Exactly. You guys recognize her. You guys have seen her before. And we are both going into emergency medicine. So we've been down this whole road together from day one of medical school. So now we're at the end of the road.
Since day one.
How do you feel about ending medical school? About finally graduating?
It really hasn't hit me yet. It really hasn't hit me yet. The reality of, really about to be a whole doctor and, the first doctor in my family, none of that has completely, it hasn't processed fully for me yet.
That's fair. That's fair.
I just still can't believe it.
It's kind of a lot to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
We've literally been in school for our entire lives up to this point.
Whole life.
We're an adult, but now we're about to actually have a big girl job.
Right. Actually make money.
And pay taxes and stuff.
Man, yeah, exactly. I can't believe it, you know? We've just been working so much and for so long for this dream, and it's really right there.
That's kind of crazy. I have chills.
I know, me too. I have chills too.
Yours are very visible.
I know.
So FirstGen is a series that's dedicated to first generation medical students, nursing students, healthcare practitioners in any sense of the term, that are trailblazers for their families and their communities.
Yeah.
So tell the people, I already know a little bit about your story, but tell the people how you are first generation for your community.
Okay, so what first generation means to me is that my grandmother did not go to college. My mom started college, but she didn't necessarily finish or, get a degree from it. So amongst my lineage, I was the first to graduate from college and get the degree, the bachelor's. Girl, thank you, because we both went to Baylor. We know.
It ain't easy.
It's not.
For people who look like us especially.
Bruh. And then pre-med.
At Baylor University.
It's hard.
So that's big.
It's
Congratulations.
Hard. No, congrats to you.
And I know your family is happy for you.
They're very, very proud.
Yeah.
And so after that, now I'm going to be the first doctor in my family because there weren't any others. We really don't have very many people in the healthcare field at all. Actually, none.
Oh, wow.
No. Yeah, so that too. And so I grew up in Dallas, Texas, okay? Dallas, you understand what I'm saying?
Ooh.
Okay. So I actually grew up in Lancaster, which is a little bit south of Oak Cliff, but it was a predominantly black community that I grew up around. And my mom did not necessarily like the area. It wasn't I wouldn't say it's the hood, but people who are of affluence were not trying to come to Lancaster. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so my mom, did what she could in order to make sure that education was always a priority. She was always saying she wished that her mom would have talked to her a little bit more about education and would have, been pushed to stay in school and everything like that. But, all things aside, she did amazing because she was constantly telling me get your degree. That's something nobody can take away from you.
Yeah.
And, just continue to pursue your dreams educationally. So she did an amazing job of making sure I stayed focused.
Shout out, Mom.
Girl.
Shout out, Mom.
This
graduation's for your mom, too.
Shout out to Teresa Miller. Like, the realest of the real. My mother. No, seriously, I know. And so I think that for me, I was very, very focused. Like, when I was at Baylor, I was at the science building. Like, everything, like, so much of what I did was because I wanted to be a doctor. And, like, I really had to keep that purpose and that end goal in mind, which is, I think, why it's still crazy. Like, it hasn't hit me yet. Like, that
we're finally almost
there. For real, like...
The dream is actually, like...
Yeah, because I just, like, it's for real, like, wow, oh my gosh. Because, I just feel like I just spent so much time being so focused on this and so focused on that. Like, and, when you just have that focus, that vision, that drive... It's just like nobody can take it away from you.
And
like,
now it's no longer a future plan. It's a now.
It's now.
It's present tense.
Like we are literally reaping our harvest.
Gosh.
Like,
oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't it? Like,
listen, God is faithful.
Girl.
Tell me about your high school experience going into college. Did you know at that time that you wanted to be a doctor? What was your mindset at that time?
Yeah, so I actually did know at that time. I went to Townview Magnet Center, amazing school. And it was like a magnet school, so they had like different branches and stuff. So I was in the health professions part of Townview.
That's like a common thread that I've found with everybody that I've interviewed so far. Most of them started, even though they all grew up in like predominantly Black, kind of middle to low income class neighborhoods, they all went to magnet schools that had health science programs. So.
Yeah. Like my mom wasn't playing. Yeah. She was like, if this is what you want to do, we're going to put you in this school and we're going to give you the best opportunities to get you set up to where you need to go.
Yeah.
Now, does she understand everything about what it means to be a doctor? Does she understand what all the board exams and stuff? Not necessarily, because she didn't have to take that, but she does know that it starts before you get to medical school. Yeah. And so she did instill those things into me so that I could at least get it figured out.
Yeah.
And, ask for help and find mentors and find, people to write letters and do all the things that you have to do in college and in medical school.
That's a magnet school. You went to Baylor. How was it going from there to Baylor? Did you find going to a predominantly white... If y'all don't know, me and her went to the same college as well. Sick'em Bears.
Oh my God.
Definitely would recommend, again, to anybody else watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just a little different. How was it transitioning to a predominantly white institution?
So... a huge culture shock for me, just because I grew up in a predominantly Black neighborhood, and the magnet school, at least my magnet, was predominantly Black and brown as well. And I was also involved in the band. Shout out Big D Marching Band. Like, I literally cannot wait to donate to them when I get money. I don't have any right now. So y'all stay tuned, Big D Marching Band. Okay, but anyway. So I was in the band there and I loved it. Loved everything about my experiences there. And then I was in the band in Baylor. And I loved my experiences there as well. But that was also another very big deal as far as like very different. That was a very, a big transition for me. But I don't know. I still found like the professors and like the faculty and everything like that, like they were still amazing as far as like being able to teach and having really, really high expectations of us. So that, we could be set up for success when it came to medical school. And so I think that, that just continued with the pattern of my mom saying, okay, this is what you need to do, and this is what you got to do to get there. And, then we found that at Baylor.
What are some tips that you have for some students who maybe have a similar story to you or similar upbringing, growing up in a predominantly African-American neighborhood, and then making that transition to college that's away from home a little bit or however far or close it is, and it's just totally different from what they grew up around? How do you make that transition a little smoother?
So, first of all, you have to find your tribe. You have to have your people.
That's true.
And that's with any level of the journey. Like at any point, at every milestone, you have to have your people.
Yeah, it takes a village.
It does. It has taken a village. It will continue to take a village. You always have to have the people around you that will be the ones to pick you up when you're like, I do not want to study today. Nope, you're studying.
Yes.
Or
you remember why you started.
Right.
Yes.
They're the ones that remind you, and they're the ones that help you. And, you know, obviously it's very important to have your tribe as far as people that are going through what you're going through. Like, you know, it's great to have friends that are not necessarily pre-med or not necessarily science. And honestly, they give a different type of support, which is essential too. Very, 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 very key. But I do think that it's also very important to have people who are doing what you're doing as well, because peer mentorship has been a very big deal for me throughout college and throughout medical school as well. So, you know, you have to have your village, and, you know, you have to have those things that keep you grounded or remind you of your purpose. Like for me, having a very strong sense of who I am and like knowing why I was doing what I was doing was key for me to staying focused. Yeah. Like I just had to have that. And, you know, those are the things that remind you of why you're doing it when the going gets real tough, rough,
real,
like around the edges, the front, the back,
scary. Okay,
like very, like when it's girl, you know what I'm saying? Like,
what are some things that, like, generally, you think first generation African American, Black and brown students? What are some struggles that you think they face, particularly with higher education?
I think that one of the biggest things is literally just feeling alone, feeling like there aren't necessarily people around you that may be able to understand how you feel or understand what you're going through. Like I remember for me particularly, first year of medical school, and obviously like I got closer to you guys, but this is like week one and stuff, right? So I remember being around people who would always talk about like, oh, you know, my dad, grandpa, great grandma, and all this. Like everybody's a doctor. I would like to be this, you know, surgeon person, or I'm gonna take over the clinic or whatever. And so, you know, people were very open about that. People were very confident in the fact that they are continuing their family lineage, and a lot of times they weren't necessarily people of color or Black either. So for me, that made me feel like I couldn't voice my background, because that at first made me feel like, I don't want to say inferior because I'm not, but it really made me feel like that imposter syndrome. That's when it's really started to hit, because I was like, well, my great grandmother wasn't, you know, this ENT whatever, or like
there's no family practice waiting for me once I get out of here.
Right. Like I don't have that blueprint that it sounds like these guys already knew what was going on with medical school before they got here. And I'm just like, man, I'm just happy to be here. And so it can definitely feel like I felt isolated a little bit. And
lonely. It feels kind of lonely.
It can feel lonely. And sometimes you can feel like, you know, you shouldn't talk about your experiences. You shouldn't talk about your journey, because your journey is not like that. You're not the 8th line doctor in your family. So, you know, like I didn't want to say I felt ashamed, but I felt very sheepish about like my own experiences. So I really kept them to myself. But, you know, when you're keeping all that to yourself on top of now feeling like these people have an edge on you because they have these doctors in their family and they know all this stuff about medical school, it can really, really get inside of your head sometimes.
Definitely. And that feeds into that feeling, being made to feel smaller or inadequate or inferior or just kind of ashamed of your own background in those kind of settings, like you said, feeds into that imposter syndrome. Yeah. And then you're stuck in class for the next how many every years or however long you struggle with this, just struggling on top of the like rigor of medical school itself, period. And then you have all these other extra pressures and stresses. I can definitely see how for first generation students it's alienating and lonely and isolating.
But no, I just like what happened was, you know, I found my tribe. I found people that said, you know, hey, like I felt comfortable asking them questions that, you know, I thought everybody else knew. Or, you know, like I said, the peer mentorship was a very big deal for me. And people that I felt comfortable being myself around. And people that I felt comfortable with venting to, both in and out of medicine. Because like I said, the people who are not going through it, but who continue to support you, those some real ones.
Vital. Those, they play a vital role.
Major key.
Major key. Yes.
And so, you know, like, just once I had my people that continued to uplift me and like show me like, hey, you have a story that's worth hearing. You have, you know, there are strengths and things that you originally thought were weaknesses.
And you deserve this spot just as much as the next person.
Right. You got here.
Yes.
Because you were meant to be here.
Exactly. And
period.
Nothing about the person next to you, your left or your right, will determine how far you go, your success. Only you determine your success. And
absolutely.
You deserve the spot that you're in.
Right.
Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, that you don't deserve that spot, that it was because of this or because of that you got that spot. No. You got that spot because you are qualified, because you are called, because there is an assignment and anointing on your life, because you have a purpose.
Listen.
So don't ever listen to the next person who says that you aren't worthy, who questions why you're there in the first place.
Yeah, and I mean,
because it will happen. It's surprising,
that's very true.
But you will have classmates that say some off the wall kind of things.
Right.
You will have people, like I have people in my comment section saying off the wall type of things that I have to delete. But you know, I love y'all. You will have people like that, so you have to be able to combat these things and really be secure, like you said, in your identity and in your purpose and in your why, and that'll definitely help. I think that's a great.
Everyone has their own unique journey, right? And there is people out there that need to hear that you can make it. You can be successful. And it doesn't matter where you start, it's how you finish.
It's how you finish.
Like this May 1st, that's the finish.
The finish. Okay.
Like for real. So it's just like, you know, that's why it's so awesome that you do things like this where you're like literally highlighting different people's, you know, lives and their journeys to medicine, because everybody's journey is different.
So different.
And, you know, there are so many people that are still going through the journey. We're still going through the journey, and, you know, there's so much that we can continue to learn from each other.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's really important to, I feel like, be honest about, you know, where you've been, where you're going, and how you got there. Exactly.
Your testimony can be something that somebody else needs to just keep going, to motivate them, to pick them up in a dark time. You have no idea who's listening, who's watching, who's using your life as an example, you know? So it's kind of crazy that we're in that position, but, you know, we're thankful for it. And it's part of our assignment.
And once you start having people say, oh, wow, like, yeah, I'm the first in my family to go to college, or yeah, I'm the first in my family to go to medical school, or they're black, or, you know, all three. And it's just like, wow. And you were such an inspiration. I was just like, me? I literally don't. Like,
I was barely making it myself.
I'm just walking around. And so it's just like when you see that what you have to bring to the table can inspire others, and that means there's never anything to be ashamed about.
Never. You're right.
Like,
we heard a little bit about how you made it through Baylor, a PWI, and then tell us about your transition from Baylor to medical school. Gap years, did you work? Did you shadow? Like, how was that experience? How was that transition?
So I did take a gap year. It was inadvertently, which is a whole nother conversation, because I didn't get accepted the first time I applied to medical school, and that's okay. Sometimes it happens. A
lot of y'all need to hear that too.
A delay is not a denial, okay?
A delay is not a denial.
Okay? I took a gap year because I didn't get accepted to medical school the first time. It was the best thing I never actually set out to do for myself.
Same.
The best thing. Like, worked as a scribe as well. I know you said,
I
know, girl. And then we do emergency medicine. But yeah, so that was amazing. And then at the end of that, I got accepted to medical school, and then I quit that job, and I traveled.
Same.
I was gone.
Really? Yes. As soon as I got one acceptance letter, I was still working. I got the second acceptance letter from McGovern, my number one choice for medical school. And that shift, I was working with the director of the medical director of the EM department or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
And I was crying. I was like, oh my God. They're like, what's wrong, Sandra? I was like, I just got accepted to UT Houston. And they were like, congratulations. I was like, yeah, I quit. I'm not coming back.
Yeah, this is my 2-week notice on today. On today's date. It's the day that I quit and the day that I get my 2 weeks.
Both. 2 in 1.
2 in 1.
Oh my gosh. No, but that's true. That gap year was key. That gap year rejuvenated me. I learned a lot about myself that I didn't know.
So much.
I traveled, I worked,
so much.
It was just a great year. So you did that, then you transitioned to medical school.
Yes.
And we're both going into emergency medicine.
We are.
When did you decide on that, or how did that come about?
So it's funny. Like, I thought that emergency medicine. So I worked at Parkland Hospital, which is like the county hospital. It's like the Ben Taub of Dallas, and I thought it was really cool, really just fun, honestly. But I came into medical school, and I said I wanted to keep an open mind because. Yes. Again, I didn't know anything about medicine. So I was like, okay, let me explore everything as far as specialties before I actually commit to something. And then going through medical school, I started to realize the different things that I liked about different specialties. And then it just all went back to emergency medicine. Like, I like to talk to people. I like to use my hands for stuff. And I don't know. It was also just a fun specialty. So it just all came back to emergency medicine. I'm like, man, why did I question that? You know?
Exactly. Same. Like, why did I really think I was gonna fall in love with anything else? Like not really. It was always emergency medicine from the beginning.
I know.
And it was working as a scribe that really did it for me. That first exposure had me hooked. So we're wrapping this thing up.
Yes.
As a FirstGen student, and you're speaking now to other FirstGen students who look like you, who are in your same position, maybe let's say 5 years back.
Yeah.
What's your number one piece of advice that you would give them right now?
Number one piece of advice.
Mauricio's in our First Generations episode 1, his piece of advice was closed mouths don't get fed. Meaning, if you don't ask, you do not receive. If you are not seeking these things, opportunities will not find you. So you have to go out and get it. In our episode 2, with Preston, his big advice was to extend grace to yourself and to be kind to yourself along this journey. So now I'm leaving it up to you. Episode 3 of First Gen. What would you say is your number one piece of advice for first generation students?
Number one piece of advice, do not compare. Do not compare your journey to anybody else's.
That's a good one.
Like I was just talking about, I came up in here and I started looking at people who had doctors in their families, and that's amazing. Honestly,
that's definitely not
amazing. My kids are gonna be set up. I'm gonna be looking at them you don't even know.
Exactly.
But that's gonna be amazing for them to have that blueprint. But I couldn't compare my journey to someone who had doctors in their family, and it wasn't fair to me to do so. And it's not going to do you any good to compare yourself to other people's journeys. And so for me, whenever I tried to do that, I was like, okay, hold up, Biosha, roll it back. What do we need to be doing right now? Oh, we need to be doing some flashcards. We need to be studying. Do we need to go work out? I did my best to actively check myself whenever I found myself dwelling or thinking about comparing myself to other people. Yeah. Because that's not going to do anything for you.
Nothing.
Ever. It'll just bring negativity, and we positive around here.
Around here? We what?
These parts?
We positive.
Positive.
Because
you got to. You got to.
Ain't no other choice.
You got. So just do not compare. Just walk your own path and stay in your own lane and stay focused on your journey.
Yes.
As it is.
Yes. Y'all heard it right here.
I mean, because, it is exactly what it needs to be to get to exactly where you're trying to get to.
That's a word. That's a sermon right there.
Okay?
That's a sermon.
Focus.
Okay?
I know.
But Biosha, I want to thank you so much for being featured on this vlog, for being in First Generation, episode 3. Yes! So, Biosha, you already have a mentor with Black Girl White Coat. I mean, a mentee.
Yes, April.
Okay, shout out April.
April, hey girl.
Would you be willing to take on 1 or 2 more students?
Yeah, probably one.
You know what? I respect that.
Yeah.
So y'all heard it here first. Biosha is open to accepting one more mentee. If you are interested in having a mentor through Black Girl White Coat, just contact me. You can contact me via my website, DMs on Instagram, DMs on Twitter, email. Any one of those ways is fine. I'll also put your Twitter in the description box below.
Oh, yeah.
So you can contact Biosha if you have any questions, comments, or concerns as well.
Absolutely.
Sound good?
I love talking about this and like helping people, so hit me up.
Listen, you helped me.
And you helped me.